Proposal sponsored by some congressmen would tax Wall Street for the thousands of trades it makes every day. But in the process, some of you may take a financial hit. Dow Jones Newswire's columnist Al Lewis is here to explain. Al, good to see you. So I understand that this thing exempts people who trade $100,000 or less a year, right?
Well, first of all, this thing doesn't really exist yet. It's a proposal that's flying around Congress. It's getting a lot of buzz. I talked to one of its sponsors, Congressman Ed Perlmutter, and he is trying to design it such that it really doesn't affect a little guy, somebody who trades maybe less than $100,000 a year, somebody who is in a retirement account. The problem, Dave, is that we buy mutual funds and we buy ETFs, and the managers of those funds, of course, trade, and that is going to affect middle-class investors in that way.
And because of that, it's become a little bit of a political hot potato. I mean, even Nancy Pelosi and Barney Frank, both of whom have never shied away from taxes, are shying away from this one.
Well, they're certainly shying away from it for now. They're not closing the door on it yet. And as I said, it's a proposal in its infancy. But, you know, Dave, what did everybody think was going to happen when Wall Street came to Washington and asked for trillions of dollars? Didn't they eventually think, oh, yes, somebody in Congress is going to start taxing them back, maybe to build up the government a little bit after all of that? We've got this huge deficit. We've got a lot of financial problems as a nation. And, you know, Ed Perlmutter here, who's a Democrat from Colorado, and its other sponsor, Peter DeFazio, are just looking for a way to maybe reduce deficit spending a little bit. I don't know that this thing is going to fly, Dave. I really don't. But you know what? Taxes are inevitable. It's just a question of when and how they're going to hit us.
Well, here's the question, though. If even Nancy Pelosi and Barney Frank are shying away from this thing, maybe the message has gotten through the barriers inside the Beltway that, you know, you tax one particular group and eventually it spills out to the greater public.
The tax is like a virus, Dave. Once it's unleashed on the world, you don't know who it's going to affect and how it's going to affect them. I think everybody in Washington, D.C. knows that. You know, certainly Barney Frank and Nancy Pelosi have left themselves room to, you know, revisit the issue, or shall we just say flop their opinion. But, you know, I personally don't think this is going to go anywhere, but I do think it's an interesting discussion that needs to be had with Wall Street, with Washington and our nation about what we're going to do about our rising deficit.
Well, and let Wall Street pay for the restoration of Main Street. I mean, that's a very populist message. It goes down well in a lot of the country. But what effect will it have eventually on the financial markets that are still struggling? Even though at 0% interest rate right now, it's easy to make money in banking, you never know what's going to happen in the future.
I think the tax as it's proposed right now is modest and negligible, but as I said before, it's a virus and who knows what happens to it in the future. But, you know, Dave, something's got to be taxed. I mean, we're going to have higher taxes. I don't know why people in this country think that we can just keep spending and spending and raising the deficit and never have a tax proposal. And, you know, here's one that looks at what can be taxed. We can't tax income anymore. We can't tax real estate any more than we're already taxing it. What are we going to do? Oh, let's do financial transactions. And there was a tax like this in place from 1914 to, I think, 1966, and they're looking at revisiting it. But I don't know. So far, Dave, I don't see the political will for this thing to go forward, and so let's not worry about it too much.
Well, and they got rid of it for a good reason. Let's not bring back what was gotten rid of. Al Lewis, good to see you.